Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead and talk to the class real quick.
Will do. Hi, everyone. I just want to thank Lisa and Abby Realty for giving us this opportunity to come and speak with all of you. I hope everyone is doing well. And just wanted to kind of explain a little bit about who First Priority Title is. We are veteran owned. We are also privately held. So Matt Cree is our president and our owner. He can be accessible just as I am. So if you ever have any questions or concerns, or you're talking with someone else, it's just not making sense, or maybe another company just gave up on really helping out, give us a call. We just want to be a resource for you all. Any kind of concerns about a contract or title or just different stuff like that that may come up in the mix of trying to get a property closed. We answer our phones 365, and yes, even our president. So we also do in-house examinations. Matt is also an examiner, as well as Kelly, our other examiner, and then we have a junior examiner. Sorry, my tongue tied here. Of being able to keep all that stuff in-house for you. So therefore, none of your client's information is going to a third-party examination company that tends to be overseas. So we're right here in-house. We have 4 locations. We're in Conroe, the Woodlands, Tomball, and Vintage Park. However, we will courtesy close complimentary wherever the need is for your client. Because of the office that we hold in the Woodlands, we're able to go to any Regis office if it's a new sale to close in. If it's a refi, I've gone to people's homes, especially right now when they're not comfortable of getting out and about. Just whatever we need to do to provide y'all that best service, because we do believe that your success is our success. So however we can make you look great in front of your client is what we want to do. Um, if you have any questions or concerns or just want to know more information about us, I'm going to put my information in the chat room, and you can email me, call me, text me, whatever you'd like. I say use us, abuse us, however you need us. That's what we want to be for you all, because we are very much about making sure that you are our first priority, hence our name. So again, thank you for this opportunity. Come chat with you all and let me know how I can help you further. And I'll see you later.
Hold on, Lacey. I got a question for you.
Sure.
So it's first priority title, and if you can, everybody, if you can drop your information in there. So real quick, Lacey, agents, this is really important to know. It's really good to have a relationship with a title company. You guys know, I work with a couple of title companies, but if I'm going to take a listing and say a couple is going through a divorce and we're not sure who is supposed to be signing that listing agreement because, he said, she said, I was just curious. Is that something that you can kind of help us with when we're taking the listing in the beginning?
Absolutely. We will pull that title and the deed, and depending on who is on that information, would be the ones that could list it. If they're both on it, then they're both going to be listing, unless there's a quick claim deed from one of the other parties or the other party buys them out. And however, their divorce papers are going to be written up.
That's
And the big
perfect.
thing too is in the divorce papers is to make sure the legal property of whomever will become the sole owner of it, it is written just as it has been recorded. Because some companies and will have an issue if it doesn't match exactly. So that's just kind of another little FYI. But yes, we handle that kind of stuff all the time. And that's something else we do is also offer to our agents complimentary. If you have a listing or you have a buyer, either way, we will pull title for you complimentary. Just do a quick search, see if there's anything that just kind of pops out, any little red flags. Because sometimes your listing, your sellers don't know that there might be a lien that has been put on them by somebody else, and vice versa with your buyers, just making sure that there's nothing that will pop up during your closing period. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's what we do for you.
Yeah, so just I wanted to ask the question just to kind of give you guys an idea of why it's important to know a little bit more about your title companies or have a relationship is, so that when you are taking a listing, you can call and find out who's on title. So, Rena dropped your name in there. If you could go ahead and just drop the rest of your information in there. And then now I also have Monique. So Monique is going to tell you guys a little bit about list reports. So everybody that I bring into my classes always has something to do with my classes. So Monique, could you tell us in a couple of minutes about list reports?
Yes, List Reports is an amazing software program that Jackson Henry is partnering with all Abbey agents absolutely free. We will be your lender of choice and provide this service to you, which will allow you to get free marketing materials and free listing websites for your properties. So it will create not only flyers for you, it will create this website just for the property. It will give you the open house materials that you need. All you need to do is go and have those things printed. It will include things like property reports about the neighborhood, about the schools in the area. It will do a 1 to 3 mile radius of all of the places to eat and the convenient business establishments around your listing, things that buyers want to know about your property. And all of this is done within 5 minutes of you putting your property into the MLS system, because the system that List Report uses is based in MLS. Now, if you have a property and the seller does not want to put it in MLS for whatever their reasons are, you can still generate this same marketing materials packet for that property. You just have to input a lot of it manually, but it's all there in one spot. And you can also create what we call list packs based on certain types of features and zip codes that your clients are looking for. So instead of using the MLS system to send them different homes that are listed, you could use a list pack, which does not include the brokerage information for other agents. It will look like it's coming directly from you and that you are procuring all of the access to these homes so that your clients can look at them. It's a great feature, and we'd love to partner with you at Jackson Henry. I'm going to put my information into the chat so you can reach out to me and we can get you signed up today for free. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So make sure you drop your email so they can hit you up.
I will do.
Okay, thank you. So those were our vendors. So the class today is the basics on taking a listing. I will probably finish it in about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. It is going to be recorded, and if you guys want any of the materials that's in here, it doesn't matter if you want the PowerPoint, the listing letter that I have, whatever it is you see in here and you want it, all you have to do is just shoot me an email and request it. And I think I have my little QR code at the end. You can all log in and send me something. So what are we going to learn today? I changed this up. Hold on. What are we going to learn today? Because it didn't type out. But what are listings? How do I get listings? Why do I want them? How much does it cost? What is the process? What documents do I need? I'm going to show you how to do presentation packages, lease listings, and then I'm going to give you a breakdown of how much money you make from having a listing. So why listings and what's all the fuss about? So most new agents that come into the business, they usually have buyer representation. They normally represent the buyers, and with buyers, you have to get them pre-approved. You have to drive them all over town, and you have to make sure you find them what they want, and you may end up 20 homes later and they still want to look at 15 more. So buyer representation does take a lot of time. And seller representation is where I like to be at. I like to take the listings. So the fuss is, well, what's everybody's non-favorite thing about listings is upfront there are a lot of fees. There's when it comes to buyers, there is no upfront cost unless you're doing marketing or whatnot. But when it comes to your fees up front, you have signs, pictures, marketing materials, online, or whatever it is to get those listings. And then, but the cool thing about it is you get leads. You can get leads by marketing to the neighborhood, on your signs, open houses, and really there is no travel. It is just that one address. The cons is you do have, sometimes it is more work in the beginning, but it's once you get the listing, it's not as hard as on the buyer side. On the buyer side, it's hard to get the buyer, and then it's just as hard all the way into the end. The seller really is just most of the work is at the beginning, and then you do making sure all the docs are there at the end. So that's the pros and cons of listings. So first, I'm going to talk about the basic fees. The basic fees for a listing. So signage. Now, a lot of people, they don't know how much the signs cost. Well, the signs, if you look at the for sale bracket right here, it is, that costs about $30 to $40. And then the insert for it, depending on if you do a plastic one, it can cost, corrugated sign is about $12 to $15. And then if you do the aluminum one, that's about $20 to $30. So a sign can cost you up to about $60. And then there's also the post signs, which can cost you an upward of $150 to $200 for these signs. So a lot of people, they don't know, well, why is it on some houses you have just this little metal sign, and why is it do you have the post sign? Well, at the end of the day, all listings are resumes. Whatever way it is you market them is a resume. It is basically you telling the public, if I were to take your listing and sell your house, this is how I'm going to market your business. So I use both types of signs. So you always want to make sure you use appropriate signs. So if you're doing homes for $250,000 or less, I would just use just a regular aluminum. I'm sorry, a metal sign. Okay, this little black one right here would work. If you're one of those who wants every single listing in the neighborhood and you want to be perfect all the time, I would say use a T-shaped sign. You know, you're going to get a lot more exposure with the nicest sign on the street. So yes, you are going to spend a little bit more money, but people are probably, if they saw a metal sign and then they saw your big hanging sign, they're going to be like, oh no, I really, really like how that person handles her business. I want to use her instead. So if you're going to do price points, anything over $250,000, I would definitely go with a hanging sign. Okay. Professional pictures. Your professional pictures are between $100 to $600, depending on how nice you want them. And again, I'm going to show you why you want to use professional pictures. So you can do free pictures. If it's a rental, make sure it's a minimum of 6 pictures. I do between 6 and 10 pictures, but if you're going to pay for them, it's going to cost you between $100 to $150. Do 15 to 20 pictures on homes that are $250,000 or less. And then it's going to cost you a little bit more, but if you're taking a listing for $250,000 plus, I would say do your drone pictures, do the neighborhoods, pay for the amenities, pay for the extra pictures, and kind of go all out, because the money that you're going to spend on these listings is an investment for your future. Okay. And the lock boxes, your upfront fee is, you're going to have to pay for the lock box. I'm okay with a combo for rentals. But if it's occupied, I am not okay with a combo because the last thing I want to do is an agent goes in, does not lock the door properly, and then the house gets broken into, and I'm not even worried about the damage at this point. I'm worried about, someone hurting the tenants in there, and now it's my liability. So yes, a lot of people do use combos. I don't recommend it for anything, but I'm okay with it if it's a vacant, you know, little condo for $50,000 or $60,000 that's being rented for $800 or $900. But you want to invest in your Supras. They're about for sale properties, for any sale properties, I'm usually going to do a Supra because I want to know who's going in and out of it, and it costs about $130,000. I mean, about 130, $130 per Supra. Could be a little more, a little less. The reason why you want the Supras is the Supra tells you who's been in and out of the house. I recently had another agent come and sabotage one of my listings, and luckily she just messed up my sign, but she didn't touch my lockbox. But if she would have gone into the house and messed anything up, then she would have had to open it using her Supra key, and I would have known. Well, actually, I did know who she was because the neighbors took pictures of her. But if she would have broken in into the middle of the night and the neighbors didn't see or whatever, I would know exactly which agent accessed the property. With a combo, you have no idea who's accessing that property. Okay, and then other fees. Your showing time setup. If you have a listing, it's normally $40 per listing, but I put it in there, Abby. We eat your costs. We actually get billed the $40. I see it every single month. Every single time you have a listing, we get billed for it. But that's the cool thing about being here, and I wanted to let you know. So a lot of agents, when they transfer over, so if you're transferring here from another company, make sure that you always use the showing times service. A lot of agents didn't like using it before because of the $40 fees. It is $0 here, so please go ahead and make sure you utilize it. And marketing mailers. Okay, so I don't know if Lacey does it, but there are title companies out there that if you close a deal with them, this is not just with title companies. There's title companies, mortgage companies, and home warranty companies. So they have these companies out there, and all you have to do is ask them, hey, if my client uses you for the deal, can you send a mailer out for me? And that means you get 50 free mailers. They will get the addresses. They will put your information in co-brand with you, and they will send out a mailer saying just sold, just listed, or whatever. But if you don't have any of those relationships, then you still want to follow up. And I say about 50 mailers. It'll cost you about $60 quarterly, but you can get more listings with them. Okay, so your fees total, I always tell agents, expect to spend between $250 to $600 a listing, depending on what price point that house is. So that is just the basics on your listings. It's going to cost more. You'll see that it could cost you a lot more money. So the listing process. So how do I get listings? Well, first of all, you get listings. The easiest listings are through your circle of influence and through referrals. But if you don't have either of those, and your circle of influence doesn't like you, or you're from out of state, or you just don't like them, and so you're not going to get any referrals from them, then you farm one area. You consistently farm in one neighborhood, one subdivision, and you target the 40 or 50 homes in the area, and you consistently do this either every 2 or 3 months, or at least once a quarter. You send information out to these people, and they will keep seeing your information over and over and over again. And if you 1 month you send out the right thing, they're gonna call you and say, hey, you know what, I keep getting your stuff, and my husband and I have been talking about it, and we do want to sell our house. And we have a friend who's a real estate agent, but we want to use you because you keep sending information and we like what we see. But you got to make sure you're consistent. If you're farming and you're putting Facebook information on there, then make sure your Facebook is marketing listings or Abby listings. And then if you're going to use your website, make sure your website's all up to date. Don't try to farm an area and then all your foundation, your websites, your emails aren't set up, your voicemail's not set up. They call you and it's like got rock music in the background. They're like, no, I'm not leaving a message, that sort of thing. And asking for a listing. If you guys are using the Kohl's reports or any of the expired listings, or for sale by owners, they are getting bombarded with agent phone calls. What I try to tell agents is instead of just when you're asking for the listing, if you're calling on those, at least find out why it went expired or why it got terminated. But if you're talking to someone in your circle of influence, just ask them for the listing. Most agents, their biggest fear is closing. They know the house needs to go up for sale. They'll tell the client, oh yeah, you should do this, and they'll give them the comps and everything. And then once they're done, they don't ask for the listing. They don't say, well, what do you think? Can I list your home? They just say, okay, well, call me if you need anything. That is not a closing statement. You want to close your deal. You want to ask for the listing. If you don't ask for it and the next person that comes along says, here's a sheet of paper, can I have your listing? They sign off on it. You just lost the listing because you didn't ask for it. Following up, I have a guy that has been wanting to list his house. Well, actually, the last house I just sold, same thing. 2 years, he's been talking to me about selling his house for 2 years. And every 3 or 4 months, I call, check in on him, and then I send him cards over the holidays, and then I'll hit him up on Facebook. And then finally, he just called me up out of the blue and says, I'm ready to sell my house. I'm like, okay, cool, but I just talked to him a month ago and he wasn't ready to sell, but because of the COVID thing, he kind of freaked out and he's like, no, I got to move out to the country. So, I stuck the sign outside, worked out a deal, and I actually never went back to the house. I took the listing without actually having to go back to the house. It's because I've talked to him so many times that he's like, yeah, you don't need to come over. Just email me everything. We did it all online. I got it off the market in like 8 days, above the price that we were originally going to go with. So always follow up. Social media presence. I actually, I get agents who get listings by just being on social media. And the way your social media needs to be is don't be boring. So let me show you what boring is. I'm going to go to my Facebook page and I'm going to do a boring post. So if you want to do listings on your social media, I don't promote my personal page very much, but you should be doing things like posting that you've sold homes. I actually just share my agent stuff. Let me see. I think I have another one. Dream Team. Okay, so I actually don't promote this page, but I constantly feed into it. So that way when I'm teaching a class, I have something to train you guys. You need to, when you're posting onto your social media, if you ever look on any of my pages, very rarely do I just take a link and share it. I actually did a screenshot. My screenshot actually hits more people than if I were to do a link and said just sold. So I just put another one sold and, list with the Dream Team. We love our clients or whatever it is. And then we do little videos. A lot of our agents, what we've been doing is we've been doing virtual tours. So you want to show them that, hey, I care about you on Mother's Day, but I want your business. But you don't always want to just share links. A lot of people, what they do is they find the link on Heart, and I don't know, let me see. So they'll take a link and they'll copy it, and then if you guys are just going in and pasting it, I guarantee you nobody's gonna see it. If you just paste the link and write like a short note. You want to take a couple pictures, make a collage, and then put a description in your post. Okay? So that's a real short social media class right there, but you post it into your business page and then you can bring it over to your personal page. And y'all see my personal page is full of like goofy stuff. Every now and then I'm working. And then when I sell a house, I post it on my business page and then I bring it over. And actually I stole Ryan's right here. I thought this was really neat, but you know, I'm not really competing with you guys for business. So whenever he posted his house that he's selling, you know, I just advertised it and said, list with Abby. It doesn't even have to be with me. Find an agent at Abby and go with them. And this stuff right here is the kind of stuff that people like. He's a short video. It's fun. People like it. And I'm sure a lot of people hit his page up. I just share, you know, it's just something neat. But, you know, links, even on my page, see, I posted a link, only about 9 people. But if you take pictures of stuff and you crop it and you tag it, you're going to get more hits. So make sure you know how to do your social media properly. Having the relationship. The relationship is always going to win in any listing presentation. If you have a relationship with the client, you're going to win the transaction. Okay? So you might be up against a neighbor who's a real estate agent, but that neighbor who's a real estate agent never ever checked on me. Okay? As soon as she heard from the grapevine that I was selling the house, she came over and said, I want to take your listing and here's a listing presentation. Whereas you live 30 minutes away, but you've been mailing me stuff. And then you come and visit me. And then you actually ask me, you know, why are you selling your house? And, you know, what's going on with you? What can I help you with? Did you find that your Facebook's? Yes, people will mute you. So I do teach social media, what to do and what not to do, Pam. So always have the best relationship and making the best presentation. So I'm going to list about different kinds of presentations in here, and I want you to pick your favorite, and then I want you to do it. So let me see, yeah. So for your interviews, how do I win the listing? You have to have some kind of presentation, build a relationship while you're doing interviews, find out why they're selling, relate to the situation, tell them what you're going to offer, ask them for the listing, seal the deal, and ask them to sign the documents. So the first 5 or 6 things are the easiest things. I'm sorry, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's easy to do the listing presentation. It's easy to build a relationship. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. It's easy to find out why they're selling, and it's easy to relate and tell them what you're going to offer. The hardest thing for all of us and all new agents is, can I have your listing? Can I go ahead? Will you give me the opportunity to list your home? Can we go ahead and just knock out the paperwork? Let's do the numbers. Here's the paperwork. Please sign on the dotted line. Now, tell me who does not have a problem with the last 3. They think I'm wrong. It's the easiest. Anybody? Chime in and tell me I'm wrong. I muted you so you can't. Sorry. So anyways, so I'm going to go over all of this with you. Ta-da, class is over. So no fear here. Oh, Miss Lori is like, and that's why you're a top producer, Lori. It's because you have no fear. So the listing process, this is a joke, class isn't over. So the first thing you have to do, just do it. Yes, just do it. Ask for it. At the end of the day, after everything that we do today, if you don't learn anything at all and you have nothing in hand, all I want you to do is just walk away with, they're either going to say yes or no. Just ask for the listing, okay? You may not remember anything and you may have the crappiest presentation out of, the whole entire state of Texas, but if you ask for it, it's better than the person who doesn't ask for it. You may get it just by not having any kind of presentation and just saying, hey, I'd like to list your house. Okay, sure, why not? I don't know anybody else. Okay, so the listing presentation, this is already, how about I'd love to have your listing. It is, but you want for them to go ahead and sign. Asking them to telling them that you love to have your listing and asking them for the listing is actually one's a closing statement and the other one is an open-ended, well, let me think about it kind of question. It's harder for someone to tell you no than to say, well, let me think about it. And if you leave it open-ended, then they have time to think about it. So let's talk about your listing presentation. So the first thing is you have to sell yourself, okay? Make sure you show up, you ask for the interview. If you're going on a listing interview, you have to have some sort of presentation, and I'm going to give you a list of a bunch. Make sure you run the CMAs, get your forms, and collect as much data on the property, and just be ready to do it. So I'm actually going to skip this. I'm not going to go to part 2 through part 6, but this is kind of a breakdown of what you're going to expect if you're going to do a listing a home. So the listing presentation is you're going to make an impression. So there's a couple of things that you can do. If you're not tech savvy, then I would just go with the list report sample, learn how to use it, pull up the website and say, I can do your listing. I can do your listing, and here's a couple of things that we can do. Every single one of our listings will set you up with a website, and you click on the website, and this is something that we've done in the past. And then with your listing, it has the address for the property, and then we talk about the home. There's the photos, and then I clicked on the wrong button, but then we can explore the area. And so we'll take this. I'll send you a link for your property. You can share it with your friends and with your circle of influence, and then we're going to put it on our social media, and we're going to market it to our office as well and on other platforms. Okay, so that's one of the things that you can do if you don't know how to do the other things. So that one, the reason why I brought it up is because she did it at the beginning of the class. So a pre-made PowerPoint presentation. If you took the class a couple weeks ago, I sent you one of these, and it's a sample. So, you can set up your own PowerPoint presentation. Yes, I'll email you the presentation, Pam. So if you can set this up. I did the marketing class, and that's the reason why I kind of build off my classes. So I taught you guys how to build your own brand, your own logos and whatnot. So you can do a PowerPoint presentation, but make it short. So this one is only 9 slides, and it's really quick. Hey, this is your house. Before we begin, let me ask you, why are you moving? What's your biggest concerns about selling the homes? Take all the objections away in the beginning, like find out why they're selling, and then know exactly how you're going to address all those issues. Because if you find out all the way at the end what they give it to somebody else, and you never ask them, why did you give it to that agent, not me? Well, you never asked me how much money I need to walk away with. And they did the math for me, and it actually, the numbers work. I don't have to list it up as high. I can get it sold real quick, and really all I need is like the $60,000. Sometimes the highest price isn't the best thing. It's how you do the presentation and getting to know that client. So ask, what questions do you have? Have you talked to other agents? You always want to know if they've talked to other agents, because that gives you negotiating room, whether or not you're going to maybe consider a reduction in commissions. We don't like to talk about that much, but if you plan on selling this house and then buying them, a $1 million house, then why not give up 1% or a new build or whatever? What price were you thinking about? Just because you run a CMA doesn't mean that we're going to go with the numbers on your CMA. So always ask them up front before you start showing them numbers. I actually don't even bring the numbers to my CMA. I remember it in my head, and then I sit down and I actually draw it out in paper. When do you need to move by? Because what if we list the house next week, we get it in contract, ends up being a cash offer, and you have to be out in 2 weeks. Can you move out at that time? So you want to ask all the questions, have your remodels, so that way you can increase or decrease. But this presentation, you can edit it however you want. And then you always want to talk about yourself a little bit. Please send me a copy. Lady D, put your email address in there, because I'm not sure what D stands for. And then in quotes, what our clients say. So if you're a brand new agent and you don't have reviews, you can use Abby Reviews. What the agents say about the company is fine. But if you have your own reviews, this is where you put it. What can we do for you? So this right here, you're going to see it in presentation form and paper form. So I'm going to show you, I think Lori might have asked, what do I typically bring? So if you guys want to know what I bring to a listing presentation, it is not a PowerPoint slide or a computer or anything. I actually just bring paper. I think it's because I'm old-fashioned. But if you're bringing a PowerPoint slide, make sure you edit it to what you plan on doing. If you plan on doing their landscaping, put it on there. If you don't know how to do social media, but you're going to do 1,000 open houses, then change it up and put that in there. This should go on everyone's slide. By the way, if you list with Abby Realty, it is going to go to all our affiliated websites, and then it's going to spread out, and it spreads out to about 144 websites. This is no matter where, no matter what company it goes with. You don't have to tell them this, but because we're with the MLS, our information crosses to all the other websites within 24 to 48 hours. So this needs to be a part of your presentation. And then, of course, I put the list reports on there just in case you want to make it live. Click on it and make it link. And then I show them some of the flyers. And then, let's get your home sold. Here, sign the paper. Okay? So that's a pre-made PowerPoint presentation. If you want it, I'll send it to you. Just put your email addresses in there or send me an email for it. A pre-made video. Now, I can tell you of all these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things, a pre-made video will get you more listings than any of these other things. If you walk in with a pre-made listing video, and you can reach out to Rena, because Rena, pre-made video with testimonials. Yep, that's what I have. So, and Rena just put a text in. A pre-made video with testimonials will get you more listings than anything. You can post that I'm the best real estate agent in Houston all day long. That may get you somewhere. You can post awesome virtual tours. That may get you somewhere. But if you do a pre-made video with testimonials and you get 2 or 3 of your past clients or 2 or 3 people that you've worked with that just says, she's just an awesome person, you'd love to work with her, they want to relate to these other people, and they're like, wow, those people are so excited. I'm so excited. I want to use you. That is the number one thing that's going to get you a listing. So if you walk in there and you have nothing else but you and your laptop, and you have this video of, hey, watch this video. Okay. Can I list your house? Will you sign here? Close the deal. That is the best thing. So if you're going to have a pre-made video, make sure it's 90% professional. Put it together, edit it, put a little bit of music to it, put people's names, how much, and then just keep it short. Your video should be no more than 3 to 4 minutes. Any longer, they're not interested. Any shorter, they can't remember. A simple listing folder and a checklist. So that's actually, for a new agent, that's probably not the best thing on earth. Carol Bennett, if you don't have any testimonials, like I said, use friends. Use your friends and say, I've done this with her and she's super friendly. She cares about you. Just generic good personality traits. Things like she follows up, or they follow up. They're easy to talk to. They're very organized, and they decorated my home and my home looks amazing. Something like that. I am number 4. The number 3, the simple folder and checklist, is actually what I use, and I'm going to show you how I break it down in a little bit. But I pretty much walk in with a listing. I go in with 2 folders, and all it is the listing, the IAVS, a CMA, a little bit of information about myself. I don't even bring my bio, but if you're new, I would bring your bio. Previous sales. So if you're an experienced agent, and this would go for like Lori, Rena on here, you can actually pull up and say, well, look, let me show you what type of presence I have on the internet. Okay. And so so you pretty much pull it up, and I type my name in, and it shows right here I have 5-star ratings and the designations, and then you look down, and so it looks like I have a little bit of presence. I'm on Hestonia Magazine, so it's cool when you can pull your information up on Google. What's even better is if you've done it right all along, you click on your listings and you can say, well, let me show you what I've done in the past. And you go, well, I've only have one for sale. It's because I sell them really quickly, but recently sold. You can click on it and you can show them, it was only on the market for 12 days. I used professional pictures for everything. This house was super outdated, and we actually sold it a little bit over the market value for a property that's in that type of condition. So you can go in, and before you go in, know which houses you're going to click on first and remember a little bit about it. So like another one, you're out there in Texas City. Yes, I may be in the Woodlands. I sold this house in, I believe, 8 or 9 days also. Okay, 17 days. But sold it in 8 the first time, redid it. And it is really just a small little house, but you can always assure them whether it's a $150,000 house, or let me see if I can find one that's expensive that I've listed recently. You can go in and then you can pull something that is higher. This one right here, $435,000. Regardless of what the price is, I'm going to use professional photos for all your pictures. Make your listings your resumes. Let me see. I'm going to close that out. So you can use your previous sales without having any kind of presentation. Look, I've listed 21 homes. I've sold it. I've had 21 other items, and that doesn't even include, you know, I do commercial properties, and I can pull up my Comgate and show them everything I've done in commercial real estate. So you can use your old information only if you use professional pictures. Um, have a little short resume or a listing letter. So let me show you what the listing letter looks like. So this is a listing letter right here. So what I do with this is you can use these as a template to mail out, or you can use it as a cover sheet to your packet. So all you have, you take this, you drop it on top of IABS. So right here, you know, my team, we have multiple agents. For any agent that I'm working with, you guys have multiple agents per transaction, even if I'm just the other person. If you don't plan on using high quality videos or pictures, don't put it on here. But whatever it is you plan on using, you can edit this as is and do bullet points. If you ever look at everything that I ever do or when I'm training you guys, the reason why y'all like it the way I train is because I do bullet points, and it makes it easier for the other person to see. Okay. Listing letters and a short resume. Your short resume is like your bio. So I show you what the bio looks like. So on your listing letter, these are all the things you want to address. And this is really important in your listing presentations. There's a company out there that will charge an 8 or 7 or 8% commission. Okay. So yes, you guys are hearing it right here. And I was hoping that I was going to be able to teach this class live so I can actually show you how to present a higher than 6% listing. If you were to go into a listing presentation and you were to sit down and say, look, I am going to do items 1 through 10, but I'm not going to take a 6% commission. I'd like a 7% commission or an 8% commission. But this is what I'll do for you. And this is what everybody else isn't doing. And you can literally lay out, I'm going to take care of your lawn, power wash, landscape, do open houses. Most of these things we typically do. But if you include the staging and say, I'm going to absorb the staging costs, and you're already a good stager like Teresa, then, you know, instead of charging or saying, hey, you're going to pay a stager for $1,000, I'm going to go ahead and absorb the $1,000 in the listing cost. I'll split it with you, and it'll be X amount of dollars. You do the math. And like I said, I want to do this live, so there's a pretty good chance I'm going to redo this in a class where I'm going to show you how to properly present at a higher rate. And the highest I've ever been paid on a listing is 12%. So, and I took 8%. So, you want to make sure that if you're going to do anything extra, you can go in and put all these items in. And the higher the price point, you can charge them a little bit more, but say, look, these are all the things that I'm doing. I'm going to do these types of brochures. I'm going to this places. I'm going to the country club, and I'm going to advertise it to everybody at the country club. Whatever it is, you tell them how much it's going to cost you, and then you're going to say, look, instead of making you pay for all of it up front, let me take care of it. And then when you move to Alaska and the house is on the market for 30 days, I will check on it, and I will make sure that the lawn is good and everything is trimmed, you know, whatever it is. So there are ways that you can take the listings for a little bit higher. You know, you can tell them everything that you're doing, or you can say, I'm just going to list it and leave it like Redfin, and then, you know, let them figure out what they want. And they can save a lot of money, but then they're going to end up listing for a while. Marketing costs. I'm on a budget. I do everything like as little as possible, like 50 or 60 bucks. But it depends on how you're marketing it, Joseph. What to bring to an interview. Bring your presentation, whatever form it is, whether it's a video. If it's a video, make sure you play it. Make sure you know what the next slide is going to be, or what it's going to say, and be ready to answer questions afterwards. Bring 3 or 4 ink pens. Make sure you check your ink. I have had a agent call me up and said, I only brought 1 ink pen and the ink pen ran out of ink. And so to the sellers, it was a sign that they should not have signed with the agent, and the agent couldn't get the list because they didn't bring enough ink pens. And it was like, some people are like that. It's a sign. Your ink didn't work on the paper. That means we shouldn't list with you. And that's it. They lost the listing. Bam. Put your phone on silent. Always make sure when you walk into a house, make sure that your client is your primary focus. Bring 2 folders, one for you and your client. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. Bring your CMA, bring your listing documents. You must always, especially if they haven't signed it yet, bring your IABS, your listing agreement, your bio, and a summary of services, which is the same as that listing letter. Maybe. I also bring these items, but I never ever leave it if I don't have a listing agreement. And I'll tell you why in a second. So, seller documents, single family HAR, that's what Carla asked about, seller's disclosure, additional copies of the IABS, the listing agreement, and any other pertinent seller documents. So your left side goes with you, and your right side stays. The only thing, if I walk into a house, I bring 2 folders. My 1 folder that belongs to me has everything. It has their CMA, it has copies of everything, it also has all the seller documents. I will not leave any of that unless they sign the listing agreement with me. So the folder that I actually give to them has an IABS and the listing agreement on the left side. And on the right side, just business card, a bio, and a summary of services. Because I don't want them to take all my documents and hand it off to the next agent and say, hey, that last agent did everything. Here, I already signed it. You just put your name on the listing agreement, whatever it is. I don't ever want that to happen. And I want them, and I'll still show them what I have, but I'll say, it is a lot of information. If you do decide, if we are going to go ahead and sign the listing agreement, I'll leave everything with you. But if not, and you need to think it over, here's everything that I do. And these are the documents I need you to sign. And you only leave those items because if you give them a whole book of stuff, they get lost in all of that. And then they're not going to sign it, or they hand it off to somebody else, or else they're confused now because it's so much paper. They don't know which ones they should have signed, which ones they shouldn't have signed, and which one you need. So always only the listing agreement and the IABS, leave it. And if they say, okay, well, just send me everything in email, when I get back to my computer, I'm gonna set up their HOAs, their MUDs, their lead-based paint, the listing agreement, IABS. I get that signed first. After I get that signed, then I send over seller's disclosures. I don't do the seller's disclosures with the rest of the packet. I make sure I get my important stuff first. So your bios, you guys saw this last week. What's in your bio? Just make sure you reread it, fill it up, make it look pretty, and edit it yourself, okay? Put your picture on it, and if you want to do the bullet points, do the bullet points, or just do this on page 1, and then put your listing letter with all your services. I don't even bring a bio. I tell them, this is how long I've been doing this. If you want me, here's all the things I'm going to do. Here's the paperwork, but that's about all you really want to share about yourself. Hey, I've been in the business for so long. This is what I can do for you. The rest of the time, yes, it is a template. The rest of the time during your interview, you should be focused on why they're selling, what they want, how much they want to sell it for, how much money they want to make. Make sure you download your Palm Agent app so that way you can have an idea of, well, if I sell it for $350,000, how much am I going to walk away with? Or if I sell it for $325,000 and you only take away 5% commission, what am I going to walk away with? Or my mortgage is X amount. So the Palm Agent app that we've been talking to you about and pushing at you, you guys should probably download it. I do not include the net sheets. You can pull out the app and you can do it that way. Right there using the app. It's just another technology. Okay, so before I start moving on to documents and what to do in Loop, do you usually, if I can get them to sign a hard copy, Jennifer, at the table, I will. I will actually, we come up with the number. I don't ever put the sales price onto the listing agreement. I actually leave it blank and I leave my commission blank. I found that when it's pre-typed in, they're like, oh, well, that agent want this and whatever. So I actually will fill in my commission while I'm there, initial it, have them initial it, and then put in the price when I'm there. So I'm going to unmute you guys. The next thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is, that took me 45 minutes. I'm going to actually show you guys what kind of comps I bring and what my documents look like, and then how to fill out the comps. And I think Ryan had mentioned asking about lease documents and how to handle those items. So I'm going to unmute. I'm going to see Jennifer. Jennifer, you seem to have a question. Do you have a question? No? It's because you're the only person I can see. So let me see. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Did it make sense? Maybe? Does anybody know who Lady D is? No? Okay. Nobody has any questions? Was this kind of useful? Did it kind of make sense? It would have been a lot more fun if we would have done this in person, because I would have been able to role play with you guys and handle objections. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys how to do documents and what to do with your documents. So what I want you to do is, a couple of you have already run across a seller and they have rejected you, or they have objected, and you have to overcome objections. So you can start typing your objections in the chat box. I'm going to go through the forms, and the forms will only take me about 15 minutes. As soon as I'm done with the forms, I'm going to object. Okay? So, question. You have the seller sign a hard copy and they want to list with you. You leave it with them? No. You take the listing agreement and the IABS. Once they sign it, you take it with you, but you should have an extra blank copy in your packet. You're going to pull out, if they sign the hard copy there, you take that and you leave that second folder with them, with the seller's disclosure, copies of the listing agreement and everything there. If they don't sign, then you take your folder with you and you can leave that blank listing agreement there. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. I would just say yes. Okay. So the next thing is, I'm going to actually do both lease listings and for sale listing. There's only one big difference with it. The lease listing is harder than the sale listing. And then before I'm done, I'll tell you how you can get leads off of all these listings and how you can make a lot of money, and why I only like to do listings. Okay, so you're going to sign in and we're going to list the house. So we're just going to pretend we're going to list the house that I just sold. Okay, so we're going to add loop. And we're going to do 1617. I'm missing a number. Just a second. Can't remember what I just sold. Oh, 1169. I had all the numbers wrong. 1169. Bourgeois Forest. So typically you can go in and you can click on it. I'm not going to click on the one that's listed by me. I'm just going to click on the blank one right here. And I'm going to hit continue. And then I'm going to select a loop and I'm going to put listing representing the seller. Okay. Once I create the loop, I'm going to add all the parties to it. So right here, all the documents that you probably will need for this transaction is here. And I'm going to go through it super quick. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to set myself as a listing agent. I'm going to set Abby as a listing broker. And that's how I get it to autofill. Right here. Okay. But before I do anything, I need a seller. So my sellers are going to be Cedric Ravenclaw, my fake human, and he's going to be the seller. And he's not married today, so just him. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at all these documents. Is it a cookie? Oh, y'all, I just got a cookie for class. Just one. Okay. So, thank you. So I got a cookie. So I'm super excited and it has coconut in it. Ooh, it's like got salt and coconut and chocolate chips. It's interesting. Say hi, Frank.
Hi.
Hi. I'm teaching class. Awesome. Is your dad okay? Is he okay? Thank you. Okay. Y'all, I just got paid and I got a cookie. This is how I'm ready to teach the class again. Okay. Well, I was. So the first time you get a list and you get excited, the first thing you want to do is you want to go in here and you want to do all this stuff. And then you realize, oh crap, I don't even know how much I'm going to list this house for. I don't even know what all these forms mean. So I'm going to tell you what all the forms mean, and I'm going to tell you what the most important documents are. So first of all, your listing agreement, for whatever reason, is all the way at the bottom. These two documents are the first two forms you always want to do. If nothing else, you know nothing else about this house, you want to at least get the IABS and the residential listing agreement. So we're going to go in here, and if you set up your account properly, all you should have to do is hit autofill, and your information is filled out. We're going to hit save, go back out, and then we're going to do the listing agreement. So I'm going to go through the listing agreement with you guys. And so right now, I don't actually have any of this information. I'm like, oh crap. Okay, well, let's see what it does. Hit autofill. So it does fill out some things, but it doesn't have a lot and block information. So this is where knowing where to get the information is super, super duper important. Okay, so you go to HAR and you find the listing, the last listing, the last time it was listed, and this is how you're going to get your information. So it's okay to cheat, but you have to cheat. If you do plan on cheating, when you go to do this presentation, make sure you ask, has anything changed since you bought this property? Have you added any rooms? Have you did any remodeling? Did you change the gas into electric? You know, anything major, have you done any of these items? Because if you don't, then your listing is going to be wrong. Bourgeois Forest. Bourgeois. Okay, so yeah, we just sold it. So the first thing is I don't have the lot and block information. Instead of filling it out here, I want to go ahead and click on that autofill again, and I want to fill it out in this area. The reason why is if you fill it out in here, it's going to remember it for the rest of the forms, but if you type it into the forms, it's not going to remember anything. I am going to be teaching a contracts class, so don't worry if I'm going too fast. So the expiration date, I actually am one of those agents. I don't like listings that go over 3 months. So I actually will only give them a 6-month listing. A lot of newer agents, they do it for a year. I don't care. That's actually one of my sales points. I'll take this listing for 6 months or 4 months. If I can't sell it in that amount of time, you can send it to anybody else. So let me make it bigger. Okay. So I know somebody says can't see. So on the listing, I'm going to put the, I'm going to pull the lot and block information. And let me see, right here, the listing date. This is something nobody taught me, and I wish I would have learned this. Somebody would have told me years ago. You could pick a listing date that's later than today's date. If you pick today's date for the listing date, that means within 5 days you have to have it on the market. Okay? Y'all need to make sure. So you talk to your client, they're like, well, no, I'm not ready until June 1st. Okay, so we have between now and June 1st. You want it active on June 1st, or you want to start talking to me on June 1st to move out? Because if they're just starting to clean up on June 1st, that means they're not ready until like June 5th. So you want the date that they're going to be ready. So he says, no, we'll be ready close to June 1st for you to come take pictures. Okay, well, if you calculate, okay, they're ready on June 1st, they're moving out. It's going to take me 2 days to get my photographer June 5th, and I want to make sure they clean it. So June 5th, I don't like putting listings up on the weekend. So what I'm probably going to do is say, okay, well, how about I put your listing up on June 10th? And then I'm going to put it coming soon as I put the sign up. So now I have time to get my signs, get my pictures, do everything I want to do, and I can still market it as a coming soon and still get leads driving in on the street and put it on HAR as coming soon. Okay? And then what price? Well, crap. I didn't talk to him about the price. So it's not a problem. You need to learn how to do a CMA. I'll go in here. I'll copy it. I'll copy the, I'll go on HAR while I'm looking at it, and I'm preparing to go over there, and I type in Bourgeois Forest subdivision. I hit criteria. I check single families to see what sold in the last 6 months. There's only been 2, so that doesn't help me very much. I went between 3 and 5, so I'm going to check solds, and then I'm going to go back about maybe, I'm going to go back for the year. And I have 4 works, hit results. And now I have myself a quick CMA to see, okay, what prices are high and low. So about $87 a square feet. You got the lows, the highs, and then you just take it, multiply it. So you can come up with pricing this way. So the other thing I do is when I do a comp, I not only run a comp here, I run a report. This is not a comp, this is a report just to see what other real estate agents are doing. A lot of newer real estate agents don't realize that this is not a true comp, but this is a good way to look up numbers. Some people actually use this for sales price. Well, that's what it says, 246. Let me show you a different one. Because I just sold it, so it's going to come up with my sold price. I'll actually print one of these reports to tell them what people are kind of looking at. So if the sellers say, well, I want to list my house for, 370, well, it says 360, 370, I'll run a comp. If the numbers look good, I can sell it. This actually is really low. For those agents who only rely on this number, the current value in this area, it's about right. It's about 110 to 116 a square feet. But I still print this report, and I only print the 3-page report, and I print it in color. So that way they can see that, okay, in this neighborhood, in the past 12 months, prices has gone down, price for a home, the values are going down in that area. So that way they can see that you kind of know what's going on with the area. Not only that, when you are looking, and this is for your brains only, you don't have to sit here and try to confuse everybody like I'm confusing you right now. but this is for your own knowledge. Yes, it is a free website. This is for your own knowledge. When I go into a subdivision and I'm about to list a house, I also check to see what all is available. If I look and there's only one home available, I'm going to try to list it at the higher end. If you can list it at the higher end, because there's probably a higher demand. People like the area, they're not moving as much. If you go into an area like mine and you look up actives, there's a lot of actives, okay? So if you look and you see there are a lot of actives, actually there's only 15 actives, and you look at all of them on days on the market, even though there are a lot of actives, most of them except 2 is moving fairly quickly. So they're actually selling fairly quickly. So you can still list it on the higher end in this neighborhood. Now let me show you something. This is really cool, and this is a #1 reason why I always say professional photos. I can almost bet, I'm going to pick this one down here, that this house, the pictures probably look like crap. Because if you look at all these other houses, they're selling fairly well. And if I look at the pricing on this house, it's lower. That neighborhood is selling in the over $100 a square feet. They've had to lower it. But look at the reason why. Look at these look at the pictures. Does that look like professional photos to you? If it is, it needs a new paint job. I mean, I think those are like really, really horrible photos that I could have taken by myself. And yes, could be a lot better. And then we'll take a look at some of the other ones. Let's take a look at this 360. If you take a look at it, the lighting is not yellow. It's much more open. I mean, it's a crowded home, and I would definitely always recommend removing personal pictures. There's a picture of the family up top. I'm surprised even, oh, it's only been on the market for 12 days. It's going to be on the market longer than 12 days if they don't take the personal pictures off. It's very hard to sell a home when the buyers can see the old owners of the property. So I always print an RPR report just to kind of show them, okay, well, here's the ratings in your school. Here's what's been going on in the past 12 months and pricing. But if you're going to do the comps, the comp that you need to be using is the one that you download from HAR, because that's going to show you more exact numbers. Okay, so you run the comp, and then now you have original listing price, and I'm just going to put it for like $250. Okay, and then you want to go back to the listing again. And if you guys don't know where to find MUD information and tax information, legal information, I'm about to show you that too. So property excludes. We should have typed in water softener for this, for my transaction. But my client already had negotiated with the buyers before me. So I'm going to click on lot and block. So right here, it doesn't have a lot information. And that kind of looks funky to me, so I don't trust it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to where it says account information. I'm going to click on there, and I'm actually going to pull the legal description. It could probably be the same, but I'd rather pull it. Yep, it is exactly the same. So I'm going to copy everything that's here, and then I'm going to paste it where it says in addition. That means that's everything else except the lot and block, and it says block 4. I'm going to type in block 4. And that's it. Now, if I autofill, it's going to shoot over to the rest of my documents. Okay, so there you go. So no lot information, the address is there, and then I just check. Is it in the neighborhood? Yes, it is. But it wasn't in a mandatory neighborhood, so really I could check yes or no for this one. It's optional. Don't let me confuse you on it. The best thing for you to do is to go back into the listing, check the old listing, or check the subdivision, like some of the other homes in the same subdivision, and see if those homes have HOA, and it's going to tell you in there. And you can also go in realist tax too. 6% sales price. If you don't have an agreement yet, I would remove the percentage there and the percentage there, write it in later, and then everything else should already be pre-filled. I took the liberty of pre-filling everything for you guys. You can type in showing times right here. And we're gonna, however much you want to pay the other parties. It is okay to change this, by the way. You can change it to 2.5 or 2% or whatever you want. And then always know what house, what the house is going to qualify: VA, FHA, cash, or conventional. If you walk into the house and the HVAC system has been demolished, it's not going to qualify for FHA or VA. So just make sure you know what type of loans are going to be qualified for. And then also make sure you don't have to check any of these, even if it's included. Just know that we're going to require you to turn them in anyways. But if you do check them, then make sure you attach it to the contract when you go to upload. Otherwise, we won't approve of it. But the very last thing a lot of people don't remember, so I pre-checked it, is that if they are or are not foreign people, because there is a tax that needs to be withheld if they are foreign. And that's it. When you go to your listing appointment, I would go ahead and I would print this, and I would put that on the pocket that I want them to sign. And then all these other ones, I would just click it and print it. And then if they end up signing, then I'm going to leave it there with them. So I'm going to explain what all these documents are to you. Exclusions list is anything that they're going to take with them, that there is not going to be a part of the sale of the property. The seller's disclosure has to be completed. There's 10 to 13 rules that you are not required to have the seller's disclosure. Just ask us and we'll tell you, or look it up on track. Supplemental seller's disclosure is talking about flood and a couple additional items that Abby requests. Lead-based paint, anything older than 1979. If it's not needed, all you got to do is check on it, archive it, and it's gone. Notice of water of a water district. That's a mud. This property is not in a mud, so I'm actually going to take it. I'm going to archive it, but I'm going to show you what it looks like if it were in a mud. So this neighborhood, I know it's in a mud. So I'm going to click on it, the listing. Ugh. And it won't let me do anything, of course, because if you're ever putting in a listing and it's like, let me show you, this one's not in a mud. If you go down on mud right here, it's just a button. But if you go back and you click on any of these, when you click on taxes, if you want to know if it's in a mud or not, you click and it says mud and it's highlighted right here. You click on it and there's the mud information. If you guys do not supply this on the listing and you guys go into contract and you're 5 days before closing and you still have not supplied it to the other agent, they can back out of the contract and you lose earnest money and you're going to have one angry seller. Anyways, just one of those tidbits of how to get out of a contract. HOA information is right here. So, and then all these information is just disclosures. What Carla was asking me at the beginning is, what is this document that I have that's attached to all of y'all's packages? If you get a house that was built by a builder, they've lived in it for 20 years, and there is no information on HAR, you need this. Because if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to add this listing to the matrix. If you take a look at it, it corresponds with the matrix. I don't care if you draw all over it or whatever, but I would recommend for you to print this out and give it to your sellers and ask them to print fill it as much out as possible, especially the room sizes. Hope your clients love you enough to do the room sizes. And that's it for documents. I went over those documents, but when you go to add edit, You just go to add new, single family. If it's a rental, it's going to be down here, but single family, add edit, and you can type in the 11619 Bourgeois Forest. And you got to don't type in too much information. The more information you type in, the harder it is going to be to find. So just the basic, do a search on it. And there it is. And you click fill, make it active, and then just fill out the information, you know, click on whatever. And you can't screw this up. Okay, you can go submit listing all day long, but if you don't fill everything in yellow out, it's not going to let you through. So you type in 4 there and you submit listing, that disappears. So you literally have to go through and fill everything that's required here out. So that's something that you guys need to know. Let's talk about those pictures and documents, your seller's disclosures. Once you get the documents, you want to make sure you have your documents, your pictures in, and your attachments. Your attachments are your seller's disclosure survey, and I like doing it all in one package. Okay, so it's all my seller's disclosures right there, and then my survey is on a separate one. So you want to make sure you upload it. I am very bad at this, but as new agents and as a sales point, I would definitely label your pictures. So, and then if you ever look at any of my listings or all the listings that I've had, very rarely do you see the front of the house, because if you're in a cookie cutter neighborhood, it's the inside of the house that's going to sell, not the outside. But you should have, you know, a little short description. So all you got to do is double click on it, enter description. They just put, you know, grass right there or whatever it is. Sorry, the cookie. I'm staring at a cookie and I can't eat it because I'm training you guys right now. But, you know, you want to do a pool description. You want to put mother-in-law suite, whatever it is. And that's it right there for listings. Let me see what else. Yes, hope you enjoyed my training. So I think there was a couple people come back to you. So did you guys, I think I went through most of everything that I could go through. I didn't see any objections. So it seems like all of you guys are really cool at closing deals. So yeah, nobody typed in any objections. Does everybody? Yes, Rena, if you're using .loop, it is automatically set up in there, and you guys are all looking at the exact same things. And I will be training .loop a lot in the next few classes. So does anybody else have any other questions? Did I cover most everything? Oh, you know, let me do this for Ryan, just in case he is on. The only difference between, well, it's not the only difference, but for rental agreements, let me do Ryan rental. Okay. The difference between a lease listing is this one page. If you simply, when you're going to take a lease listing and you pull up this one page right here, if you can say, okay, well, I'm going to take your listing, I just need a couple of things. You need to go down here to page 9. These are all the questions that the landlord needs to ask you. This is the hardest thing, is, you know, when do you want your rent paid by? Well, the 1st. And we don't want you to go more than the 3rd day, the first time you're late. These numbers are all made up by the landlord. You can suggest, but I recommend you don't suggest. I recommend you let the clients decide on what they want, because if you suggest too low, then they're like, well, you should have told me $500 for a pet deposit. They ripped up all my carpet and now all I got is $100. If it's too low, you can suggest higher, but make recommendations, but don't tell them. So these right here is typically provided to you by the landlord. And if anything, you can just print just that one page out, have them fill it out, and then take the one page back and then insert it into your form, and then do everything else that you need to do. Showing times. No, your license, your MLS ID is your login for showing time for Abby. Raphael, I saw you log in yesterday. Hopefully it was for this class. You do not have to use every document on the list. So that's it for the class. But objections, if you guys ever run across objections, here's a couple that I run into all the time. What about Redfin? If you guys get people that want to picking title companies. Okay, I'll cover your title companies. Let me talk about Redfin real quick. You need to let your clients know, well, look, how much is Redfin listing your house? How much is Redfin listing your house for? Oh, well, they're listing it for $378,000. And you're telling me you can only sell it for $350,000. Well, they do have it listed a little bit high. So you can do this a couple ways. You can actually match the pricing. And at the end of the day, you really can just match everything. But you don't want to go down to whatever it is they're offering. Say, look, I can match their pricing, and if I don't get any showings, can we reduce the price? That's one thing. Okay. The reason why I don't want to overprice your home is you're going to have extra mortgages to pay. If it's listed on the MLS for too long, then your listing becomes stale and people are going to want to negotiate. They're going to want to push your pricing down more. Well, they're not taking a big of a commission. Well, they're not going to take care of your property like I will. I'll be there. I'll do the open houses for you, and I'll be able to check in. And I have a complete log of anybody that's going in and out of the property, and they have to verify before they go in. And the lockbox that I'm using is just not some lockbox that can accidentally be left open. And the code can't be shared unless you're a licensed real estate agent. So I believe the way Redfin works is sometimes they give you one of those combo codes that changes, but you don't necessarily have to have a license to go see the property. So anybody walking down the street that might be interested in that washer and dryer empty box that was out there, wants to go in and see what's there, they can call and say, I want to see the property. And so, for safety reasons, and you have such really nice things in the home, and we want to be able to protect it. And if you're not going to be living in the home, I can check in on it, once a week, just to make sure everything's in its place. And I'll follow up with you. And then actually, if you pull up the Redfin website and show them, there are a lot of stale listings on there that are overpriced that aren't being sold. So just because they're on there doesn't mean they're being sold. Title companies, so title company can be picked by the buyer or the sellers. Typically, if the seller, I always say, well, we want to use this title company, but if your buyer would like to pick the title company and pay for title, that is 100% up to you. And if you're going to pick your own title company, please also check the box that says buyer will be paying for title fees. Just like that. And most of the time, it's not going to be a fight if you just have that conversation. It shouldn't even be an argument. If you're on the buyer side, it's a lot harder to keep title, but if you plan on paying for title, then yeah, pick the title company, especially if you're representing an investor. A lot of investors like to use their own title companies. Okay. Independent homeowner leasing. Oh, wait. Who do you recommend for My Smart Move? I don't use My Smart Move a lot, but you can use them. You create a login and connect your listing to them. Or I actually have my own investors. I tell them, I was like, you have to do the background check and you have to pull the credit report, and the tenant pays them directly. But my clients, they're very experienced. For sale by owners. If you do a for sale by owner, the best way to get to the door with a for sale by owner is to say, hey, I have buyers for your listings. Can I please show the property? My name is, and what days are what days is the house available? Is there anything else I need to know about the house? If you want to pick up a for sale by owner, and this is a whole entire class, Joseph, you want to find out why. Yes, there you go, Jennifer. The best thing is to find out why it hasn't sold or why they want to sell it, and you want to build a relationship. All my slides says build a relationship with that client. Find out why. Most agents say, can I list your property instead of can I show your property to some people, see if they can put in some offers, and why do you think your home's not selling, or why are you selling? You find out enough questions that FSBO turns into a listing anyways. Is that right, Jennifer? No, she's going to say, no, you are wrong.
I think what's worked for me is offering to send them information that might be helpful to them, like the seller's disclosure that's required by law, things like that.
Yeah,
And
you offer to
I
help.
asked them for their listing. I just asked them to consider me if they do decide to list. And they've both of them have called me. I haven't had to bother them.
It's the iBuyers. I think we Elizabeth Griever, and then we have I can't think of his name, but there's two of them. You can always send them over there to take a look at the property, and you call the for sale by owners and say, we have some Gabe, we have some people that might be interested in your home, and then seeing that they do put offers in, and actually you can log on to the online websites. I can't think of the name of those, but they'll buy them. They'll actually send you offers online, and you can submit these on behalf of the for sale by owner, and you just give it to them and say, look, I got 1, 2, 3 offers for you right here. I know they're a little bit low. You should be selling at this price point. And like Jennifer said, provide them with information, some education. You can even offer open houses for them, seller's disclosure, different documents, and just build a relationship. And then when they do go to list, they're going to be like, well, she's the only one that actually helped us at all, and we really can't sell it ourselves because I guess we smell bad. People cringe every time we open up the door, whatever it is, but it's all about educating the for sale by owners. Okay. That's it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, and I know it's a totally different class, but if I want to upload all my documents in the Dotloop under my specific seller, if I pick the documents, is it already separated between seller and buyer documents in the Abby pool, or do I go and pick the different ones? Or if I make him a seller, will all those seller documents be in there already?
It doesn't matter what you make them. It's a matter which loop you pick. There are different loops. It's a matter of.
I don't have to create them. They're already created for Abby. There's already one for sellers and one for under the different templates, right?
These right here. Yes, I've created different templates for all of you. Who am I speaking to, by the way?
It's Carla. Sorry.
Oh, Carla. It's okay. I'm not used to your voice yet. So,
hey, the accent.
Okay. So what you can do is say this one, you can actually create a new folder. You can add a folder and you can name it like buyer's docs. And then you can just upload the additional documents in there. I think that's what Rena says. You're talking about the folders. You can add whatever documents you want in here.
Okay.
And then it will just all shoot in. And then if you do the wrong one, then you can just archive them. Does that make sense? But it's not Dotloop that you have to be worried about. It's to get paid. You got to be worried about getting it into Back Agent and then setting up the transaction here. Once you set it up in here, The cool thing is you can integrate, you can add integration and it'll link with .loop and you just transfer the files over, which is what I should be working with Sai on. So
Yeah, that's
Cool.
easy. Thanks.
yeah, so I mean, we've tried to make it so you'll find that in the next couple of months, or actually in the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of things that should be getting a lot easier for us to do. It's I'm going to start putting out the training for it, and then we're doing the videos for it. So anybody that has questions about anything, the agents I'm working with already have it. The Abby agents, I'm working on creating that for you guys. So does that make sense? Yeah, you can go. You guys, your class was over like 15 minutes ago. Y'all always like to hang out more. But you have any questions, just let me know. If y'all want any of the materials, just I know most of y'all have my email address. Just shoot me an email address, and I'll send it all over to you in a link, and you'll be able to get in there. Okay? So bye, Jennifer. Have a good day. Does anybody else have questions? Where's add integrations? Rena, if you're using .loop, you go in transactions and you go to your whatever transaction it is, and what it'll do is you go to documents and there's this add integration button right over here on the right hand side. Thank you. Bye guys. You click on add integration and then you can set up .loop and you can link it and sign on to .loop and it'll take you right to all your loops, and then you pick the loop that you want and you say connect and it'll connect.
Do I need to
Cool.
order whatever documents I don't need before I do the integration?
No, you don't, because it'll tell you what documents we want and you'll only send the documents that we want. The rest, if we don't want it, you're not going to be required to put it in.
Where does this show me which ones you want and which ones you don't care about, or
Right.
which ones are not needed?
Right over here. It tells you required or recommended.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rena, it looks like you found it. So hopefully this class was helpful. If y'all need any